Everything has been building to this moment. Thank you. Did you all, let's give the music ministry. Oh my God. My God, Tab, you had to have done some research. When I was teaching at SMU, I was the director of Black Studies, and I know all that stuff that you had up there did not come by osmosis. You've probably been working on it for years, but I thank God. Did you all want to thank God now? Thank you. And you know where we've come from, and we still have some other to go. We're celebrating Black History Month. Amen. We are celebrating Black History Month. And I want to remind you this morning in the text that the Lord gave me this week to share with you. I've been really just struggling with this thing. I went to the Greek and translated it and saw some things and saw some more things and saw some more things. And then I meditated on you all because last week was rough. And God gave me this text. And it's Matthew, the 5th chapter, verses 13 to 20. But I want you to read verse 20 with me. You already familiar with the part about the salt and the light. So let's look at verse 20. But I think today this particular part of the text defines where we want to go. Let's read that together, verse 20, Matthew 5 and 20. Read it. For I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Amen. Turn to your neighbor, tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, I won't regress. Y'all know it's so easy, isn't it, to regress. You take one step, and the devil try to pull you back too. You find one breakthrough, but the devil will knock you back. Regression is a part of life. And so this morning, Jesus addresses this tendency that we have to take a step and then fall back. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised when you find yourself laying down after you have stood up. Don't be surprised. But God, Jesus, this morning is pointing out to us that we're not supposed to go back. God called and commissioned us to keep on. If we go back, we'll miss that next level that God has ordained for us. If you have been empowered, you don't give it away. In this saying, Jesus is teaching his disciples about the challenges and benefits of discipleship. He is concerned about the tendency to start out and then regress. What you start out in is what you ought to continue and grow in. How many of us can truly say that we are growing instead of regressing? Y'all, come on now, church. Come on now. Come on, church. What you started out in is what you continue and grow in. And so Jesus uses two symbols to symbolize what we must not regress in. He uses the symbol of salt. He says that you're salt and you're light. And he says that these two entities symbolize what you really are. Somebody tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, I'm salt. Tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, I'm a light. Amen. He says you are the salt of the earth. What does he mean by salt? What he means is that salt is a preservative and a flavor enhancer. The challenge of being salt is to be able to preserve everything around you and not succumb to the negatives or regressive powers in your environment. Well, let me say that again. What are you? What are you? Salt and what? Amen. God is expecting you to be the difference in your relationships. If you're getting pulled down by your kids or your relationships or your finances or whatever you're dealing with, I want you to remember what you just said this morning. You are what? Salt. Now, I had to ask Jesus. Now, Jesus says, when salt has lost its saltiness, how can it be restored? Somewhere, some of you thought that salt could lose its saltiness. Salt cannot lose its saltiness. If it's salt, it's salt. When you get assaulted, you will either be who you are or you will be diluted by what you're going through. What Jesus is saying is that you have allowed yourself to be diluted or drained down to the level that you have lost who you are. Come on now. Come on now, church. What happened was that you found yourself in a situation where you should have been standing strong and you regressed. You became, you only got two kinds of salt. You got low-grade salt and you got high-grade salt. Both of them are salt. Low-grade salt has dirt and impurities in it. High-grade salt is pure salt. So if you put low-grade salt in your beans or greens, you're going to have sand and dirt in your taste. High-grade salt makes the greens taste better. When Jesus says that when you lose your flavor, your saltiness, he's saying something came into your life and diminished you. Now let me ask you a question this morning. Are you being diminished or are you being added to? Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on. What you use low-grade salt for, that's low-grade salt that they put out on the ice and snow. Jesus says that when you become low-grade salt, you're just good to be walked on. Now, have you wondered why everybody's walking on you? They walking on you because you have allowed yourself to be drained down to almost nothing. But I like the fact that Jesus says, you are the salt of the earth. What he's trying to tell you is that when you start facing those diminishing powers and those diminishing influences, you got to understand, just tell yourself, I'm salt. I was made salt, and I will never lose my saltiness. You are the salt of the earth. Don't regress. I hate to see you. A lot of times you walk up in God's church looking like soda. Did you know soda is a form of salt? You walk in, soda is a powder. Salt is a crystal. Now, what do you want to be? Do you want to be soda? You want to be salt? High grade or low grade? Somebody tell the devil right now, say, I won't regress. Jesus says that you are the light of the world. Light is an enhancer. Light is an enhancer. No matter what kind of situation you're in, you got to learn how to make the best of it. What I tell you this morning, I told you got to do what? Make the best of it. If things are not the way they're supposed to be, you don't allow yourself to diminish yourself down to the level to where they are. Light is supposed to shine clarity in a situation. The reason we don't have a lot of clarity in life because we got too many men trying to be boys. Got too many women settling for boys and calling them men. Oh, I got to share with you some of the things we learned in our Wednesday morning Bible study, men. We're talking about no more excuses. You're supposed to be a light. How can you be a light when you think you're a bum? Jesus says, you are the light of the world. When you cut these lights out in this sanctuary, when you cut these lights out in this church, what do you have? Darkness. That's why our children are not growing up right. That's why our families are messed up. That's why our finances are messed up, because can't nobody tell us anything, and we can't tell nobody nothing either. I had a young man that called me. Y'all don't know him, and he was asking me how to deal with his baby mama. I don't know how to deal with my baby mama. Could you give me some advice? I said, son, I don't give advice, but I can find out what you're doing. All right. After he got to telling me that he was paying, he makes good money. And I'm going to tell you women, I agree, if he don't take care of his baby, he ought to pay child support. I agree with you. So he was telling me he was paying $800 a month in child support. And he said he makes a pretty good check, but he don't have enough money to live on. So I asked, how much money you make? And I said, because I know that they're not going to take no more. It's based on how much you make. So when we got to talking, I said, now, wait a minute, son. Do you have a relationship with the baby mama? No. You have a relationship with the baby. Do you go see the baby? No. Then we kept talking, and after we got through talking, he didn't like some of the stuff I was saying to him. So then he told me, he said, I'll think about that. I said, if you want to reduce your child support, Why don't you go and see the baby? Why don't you go take the baby home? Why don't you keep the baby? Why don't you make up with the baby's mama? You might get it reduced. And then if you really want to do it, why don't you sue for some custody? I'll think about that. That's light. That's light. Light means that God is somehow clarifying things for you. And you and I have to understand that we don't know everything. That's the problem with a lot of people. They think they know everything. And you can't shed light because what's in the way is the darkness of my opinion. Do y'all know opinions are dangerous? Do you know that? Did you know that opinions are dangerous because what they do, unless you listen and hear the light, they will shut you off from the truth. No person is truth. That's why Jesus says, you are the light of the world, meaning that I shine in you. And because I shine in you, therefore you shine in the world. Now, what's the challenge of being a light? Light means that when I go home today, when I leave this place today, I will enhance every situation that I'm in. If I have some kids at home that's not acting right, I'm light. If I have a spouse or a partner, whatever they are, at home, I'm light. Now, will you regress to their level? Or are you going to be the light of the world? Now, I don't know about you, but Jesus points out, if you light, you can't help from being light. Sometimes people will say things to help straighten somebody else, and they'll get mad at you because you said it. But it's all right because you're what? Light. Tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, I'm light. If you can't handle it, tell them, say, if you can't handle it. Say, if you can't handle it. If you can't handle it. If you can't handle it, stay in the dark. Let me go to this last thing, and then I'm not going to regress. I won't regress. I'm trying to make it forward somewhere, and I'm not going to fall off the ledge because I'm trying to get to my next breakthrough, to my next level. I don't want to stay where I am. You want to stay where you are? I don't. So then Jesus comes. This is my text. This is a key verse. He says in verse 20, for I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. What now what is, let's put this in context and then I'm through. Your righteousness is your salt. Your righteousness is your salt, and your praise is your light. When you live out the way God said live, that's your salt. When you praise God and the world sees you praising God, that's your light. Now, Jesus said that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes of the Pharisees, he says that you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Now, what that means is you're not going to make it to your next level. Heaven is a level. You won't make it to your next level unless you overcome and beat out those people that are trying to hold you back. I got to share this and I'm through. I had a conversation with my little old grandson last night. He got shot. Got shot in the leg. So now, what do you say to a 17-year-old that think they grown? I thought about this when he told me. I was talking to him and I was saying, son, do you realize you're 17 and you can cop a felony? And I said, now, why did you get shot? He said, I'm with my boys. I said, your boys? What do you mean by your boys? Then I said, that's them scribes. That's them scribes. Because the scribes have an alternative reality to what God has. That's them scribes. And I got to thinking to him. I said to myself, I said, okay, your boys. I said, but did your boys get shot? Who was you with when you got shot? Did your boys get shot? No, I'm the only one got shot. I said, did you realize that the bullet could have been about a foot higher and hit you in the heart of the head? Do you realize that your boys didn't stop the bullet from hitting you a foot higher? Then I said, son, Jesus says, let your righteousness exceed that of the scribes. You're not supposed to let yourself come down to the level of your boys. Then I said, now wait a minute. Do you realize that if you go to jail, your boys not going to come see you? How many of y'all been to jail before? Did your boys come see you every day? If you ever went to the hospital, if you got sick, your boy's not coming to the hospital to visit you. Did they come see you in the hospital? But they your boys. And whatever they say is what you think is right. Well, he hung the phone up on me. But that's all right. That's all right. Because it didn't stop me from being salt and light. He says, you are the salt. You got to keep on being salt when nobody agrees with you. You are the light of the world. Sometimes the difference between 12 inches at your knee and your heart, it may be God. You're the light. Hey, I believe sometimes, somehow, God will turn things around if you stand true to who you are. It ain't going to always be easy. But you got to keep in mind that you're trying to make it to the next level. Don't you regress to the level of those that you're trying to change. I will not regress. Tell the devil, say, I'm not going to regress. Y'all get up out of your seats. Get up out of your seats. I will not. It took me too hard. It was too hard to get to where I am. I don't believe. I don't believe. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Nobody told me the road would be easy. But I come too far I'm salt. The light. I come too far. I've come too far. I don't believe he brought me this far. How'd I make it? I made it because of Jesus. He stood in the gap for me. And I pray, I told my grandson, I said, son, I may not be able to get you from your boys. Son, I might not be able to change your mind right now, but I'm praying for you. When I got on my knees last night, I got down on my knees and I said, Lord, I'm not going to ask you to take away his reaping. I'm not going to ask you to not let him get shot no more, but just save his life. Save that life. Then they have another chance. That's all you got to do. Hey, I don't believe he's going to perish. You give up all that old gloom and doom stuff. And you start asking God to bring forth the best. It ain't as bad as you think it is. Not as bad as you think it is. Not as bad as you think it is. He said, not as bad. Just keep on praying. Keep on being righteous. Don't you go back to where you came from. Some of y'all think that was good, don't you? I was thinking about my past life. Some of the stuff I did. I can't go back there. I can't go back. No. Got to keep on going forward. Forward. The devil is alive. Can't pull me back. I'm heavenly bound. Can't turn around. Huh? Oh, the mountains may be high. The valleys may be low. But he said that he would bring the mountains down and raise up the valleys so I can make it through. I don't believe. Doors of the church are open. I don't believe. I don't believe. I heard C.H. Franklin singing that song. I don't believe. It was a low time in my life. But God brought me through. Put my feet on solid ground. I won't regress. I won't. Is there someone this morning to tell God that I want to step forward? I don't want to go back. Forward. All he said is just takes one little move, one little step. If you take that, I'll take two for you. Do you want to go back? You are salt. You are light. Somebody's out there that God wants you to go and be salt for, be light for. Bring them into the kingdom of heaven. You may have grandchildren like I do. Somebody in your family needs a change. There's someone this morning, I don't believe. There's someone this morning.
Nobody told me.
Jesus says, that's all right. You don't have to be a scribe. You can be salt and light. And I'll put your feet on solid ground. Now let's
Stay with me, Lord. Stay with me, Jesus. Stay with this. Stay with me, Jesus.